Hey everybody, welcome back to 100 Blocks in 2025. I'm excited. I'm about to make block number 103. If you don't know why I'm making more than 100 blocks, check out the playlist. A few weeks ago, I guess we did a video that is planning for the final quilt, and that's where I revealed that in order to make what I wanted and not shortchange you at all, I was going to have to make 112 blocks. So we're at 103, and today's block, very similar. We're kind of running along with a theme here. It's very similar to the one we just did, but it's a little bit different, and it's a different book. So let's take a look. All right, today's book, let me show you, is called the Civil War Diary Quilt. This one has a bunch of really cool blocks in it. Unfortunately, there are no patterns. Somewhere, somehow, we can get to the measurements of the blocks, but we're making this into a 6-inch block, and you may notice, maybe you won't, but you may notice some similarities to one that we just did. This one's called Preparations for Smuggling, and it is on page 92 and 93 in this Civil War Diary Quilt book. And if you'll notice, this is another one of those blocks that uses a 5 square by 5 square layout. So they've made it super easy for us, because we've already done this before, to have this center area be a little bit different. So we are going to do what we've done every other time, and we're going to make it slightly smaller. So here are my fabrics that I'm going to do for my center. I have a background square here that I've cut 1.5 inches square, and these little guys right here are all 1.5 by 3 inches, and that's going to give us our center block. And then of course everything in our corners again is going to be slightly different size. It'll be oversized by a little bit. So now if we look, we've got our center cross done, and we have this area over here. So what this consists of are 2 half square triangles and 2 squares. So easy enough, we're going to go ahead and put our solid squares in our corners. So here they go. This is our medium blue. And so now we know where those go. They are in opposite corners, here and here. And then we have to make our half square triangles. Now these guys, these little squares right here, are 1.75 inches or 1 3/4 inches square. So that's what you can cut. They're solids. And then we're going to make those half square triangles. So if you notice, the ones in the corners are background and light blue. So in order to make those, I have to have 4. So I'll have 2 squares that are 2.25 inches or 2 1/4 inches, and 2 squares of the background and 2 squares of the medium to put together to make our outside corners. And then our inside corners are going to be our background again. Here's our 2 squares of 2 1/4, and also our blue. So we have 2 squares of that as well. So we're going to make, we're going to sew these 2 squares together, these 2 squares together, and then we're going to trim those half square triangles. We're going to sew on 1/4 inch on either side of the diagonal line in the back of the square, cut them apart, and then because we can't use our Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer for this particular block, we're going to cut them apart and press them, and then we're going to trim them down to match these squares at 1 3/4 inches. So go ahead, let's go ahead and do that. And I think this one, same block, same kind of the way we put it together, but it makes a slightly different look. So we're going to have that center again, but we're going to have this really cool kind of a pokey out block going in a different direction here in the corner. So it's slightly different, but the same basic shape. So let's go ahead and go make our half square triangles, and we'll come back and look at our corner units. All right, everybody, I got my half square triangles done, and if you watched the last video, I wanted to show you, after trimming all of these guys, I have a lot less waste this time, and it's because I actually cut the blocks to the exactly right size instead of oversizing them like last time. So let's get rid of that. We'll bring our half square triangles in here. And so now we just have to put them in the right spaces. So we're going to have our background and our dark going like this. And then our other background with our medium print going like this. and that's going to give us the look that we need. So we definitely want this on the outside, this on the inside, with the two light pieces facing each other. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go around to the block, because remember, we're going to stay organized. It's very easy to get these blocks turned the wrong direction. As a matter of fact, when I was sewing the last one, I actually had to unsew a part because I sewed the wrong side to the wrong side. So it's always very, very helpful to lay them out on a little board or a little, look, I already did it. Lay them on a little board or a little piece of plastic or divider or a board like this, so you can carry it over to the sewing machine. So we're going to do exactly like we've done with all these other center 5x5 layout blocks, and we're going to sew our corners together first, and then we can come back and assemble the whole block. All right, so now we have all of our little sections done. We're going to lay them out the way they go in the block. And now we just assemble the whole thing like a 9-patch. So let's go ahead and stitch all this together and come back and look at it. Everybody, here we go. And look how close to the picture it looks. How awesome. So we made that tiny little tweak here in the center, and by taking out the little squares, adding in the rectangles and making them a little bit smaller, we now have the block looking exactly the way it's supposed to, and it's just the right size. How cool is that? I'm so glad that you got to see this one. This is probably my last 5x5 layout, I think, in this whole group. But I've given you probably, I think, 4 or 5 of this type of block that's really fun to make with that little bit of uneven center. So I hope you really like that. As always, consider liking and subscribing to the video. There's so many of you watching this series right now and you're not subscribed. I don't know why. There's really good stuff coming up. Trust me, I know. I've been making the calendar. So definitely think about liking and subscribing. Help get the word of the videos out. If you're on a mobile device, hit that hype button. Come and check us out at cabinquilters.com. Check out our retreats, our quilt cruise going on in 2027. And I guess I'll keep making blocks, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.